There's nothing like accountability. With what I do as a nurse, I do goal setting. So I have some experience, with setting SMART goals. The thing is, much as I've known all along, without that accountability, it doesn't happen for me. That's the magic that this group provided for me.
ADHD Rewired, episode number 44. This is the show designed to help those of us who have really good intentions and a slightly wandering attention. My name is Eric Tivers. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, coach, and consultant, and I do have ADHD. We know that starting could be the hardest part, but so can finishing and transitioning and planning and getting to the point. Let's just get started.
AudibleTrial.com/ADHD Rewired for your free download. Trial.com/ADHD Rewired. Trial.com/ADHD Rewired. Go to audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired for your free audiobook download.
Make 2015 your most productive year yet by joining the next ADHD Rewired Coaching and Accountability Group. Register now before prices go up, and just like last time, this group will sell out. Take action. Go to ADHDrewired.com and click the big Rewired coaching picture at the top of the page. That's ADHDrewired.com to get your ADHD Rewired. Hello there, ADHD Rewired community. I am thrilled to be coming to you on my birthday. Yes, it is my birthday, December 29th. If you're listening to this on the day that it came out. If it is not December 29th, well, then you're late if you wish me a happy birthday, and I forgive you. Anyways, this episode I'm really excited to bring you because, as most of you know who listen to this show on an ongoing basis, I am ready to launch the ADHD Rewired Coaching and Accountability Group version 2.0. And this week's guest was a member of the first group. And I asked her to join us today really to share with us a goal that she wants to work on, that she's planning on tracking, that has to do with some challenges that she has regarding Facebook. We talk about some of the challenges that she worked through during the group, and we kind of dive into what it was like for her to be in the group, both the good and the bad. So I really want to encourage you to listen, even if you have no intention of joining this group. I think that you will find a lot of value from this group, because I think what she shares is something that we all can relate to, and that's, having these really good intentions and the struggles that we sometimes will experience through kind of trying to achieve these bigger goals. We address some thoughts that tend to get in our way, and some successes and strategies that help us get through these things. So without any further ado, let me bring you this interview with my guest, Lisa Feinberg. Welcome back to another episode of ADHD Rewired. I am glad that you can join us for today's conversation, who is with Lisa Feinberg. Lisa is my guest, and I'm very excited to have her on the show. I've known Lisa for a little while now, first through the ADHD Rewired community Facebook group, and then she was actually a part of the ADHD Rewired coaching and accountability group, and we are going to talk a bit about that. But before we do, I want to let you know a little bit about who Lisa is, and any detail that I forget, I am sure that she will fill in, because when I asked her to send me an intro about her, she sent me a book, and I think that most people with ADHD can kind of relate to that. So she actually had her boyfriend give the revised, edited version, and that was still a long one. So I'm going to give my abridged version of who Lisa Feinberg is. She is a nurse. She is doing coach training right now. All the way back to when she was a kid, she was described as a person who was chronically late, couldn't find her stuff, and so kind of like a lot like many of us. So she is working right now on her coach training. She is really focusing on improving her productivity. And one of the reasons that I actually asked her on the podcast was she posted a book on on Facebook regarding a goal that she actually has about her, maybe we can call it a Facebook addiction, a time suck, something that she is recognizing she's spending too much time doing. So before we kind of dive into that, Lisa, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being on. And how are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
So I'm sure you're feeling that I missed like all these details of your life. And
yes, you did.
So which were the ones that you're feeling, oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't mention that?
Actually, nothing came to mind as I was listening to you. I was just kind of laughing at the books, you were mentioning that I've written. So what would be something I guess when I wrote the book.
Now, are we talking about your intro or your goals that you posted on Facebook?
Oh, the intro.
Okay. Yeah.
I shared how I went into nursing, and when I was a kid, I had the typical ADD stuff, but never knew that I was diagnosed. Never knew I wasn't diagnosed.
When did you get diagnosed?
I got diagnosed in my late 30s.
Okay.
So what happened is I went, after being in nursing, and I learned things about ADHD, and I kind of just put it together. And if I could have diagnosed myself, I would say that I diagnosed myself.
Okay.
I pretty much did. And then I went to a doctor to say, okay, here's what I'm doing, and do I have it? And they gave me the test, and said, yes, you do. And they diagnosed me with inattentive ADD.
Okay.
No H, even though I think sometimes I have it. I have a lot of energy.
Right.
But,
and just as a reminder, I know some people think it's kind of splitting hairs, but everything is ADHD, and we have these different presentations. And the reason we have the presentations is because we know that it can change over time, and we know it's not a stable. What we used to call subtypes, we know aren't stable. So you could have that hyperactivity piece as a kid, and then the hyperactivity can kind of diminish over time. But the other thing that people often forget about the other half of hyperactivity is impulsivity. So it's that hyperactive impulsive subtype. And I think the more that I've looked in, really kind of taken a step back to my own ADHD, I don't think I have a lot of the hyperactivity. Just maybe in my brain I have hyperactivity, but I certainly think I have some features of impulsivity at times. Because I think that sometimes distractibility in some ways is a feature of hyperactivity, or I'm sorry, of impulsivity. So you're saying that you don't think you have it at that much, the hyperactivity piece, but you're also a pretty active person. You're a runner. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I run 3 or 4 miles, 5 or 6 days a week. When I'm at my best, when I'm not, well, I'm only saying that because I had a cold last week and didn't run as much. But normally I'm running a few miles every day. I've done marathons and triathlons. And so, yeah, that's how I get my, it's probably one of the best things I do to manage my ADHD. The running in the morning is great for getting energy out, getting the dopamine going, so that I can sit all day. I have a sedentary job, which isn't really my natural way, my natural style. So the running helps me to be able to do that, to focus.
Okay. And so you run in the morning then?
Yeah, yes. I run in the morning.
Okay.
Because I feel like that way, that sets the tone for the day.
I couldn't agree more. And one of the, so one of my goals for 2015 is, you had mentioned that you didn't run as much last week because you got a cold. A few weeks ago, I had a kind of a bad asthma flare up, and I have not worked out. I think I'm in now week 3, and I'm feeling it. I'm definitely feeling it. So I got to get back into that routine. And I know one of the things that we're going to be talking about is a goal that you have for this upcoming year. And then we did talk ahead of time about the idea of you coming back on the show maybe in a few months to check in with us on that goal. And so maybe one of the things we can do is at that time, you can check in with me too to see if I'm back in my workout routine. And man, I hope I'm back in my workout routine by that time. I'm hoping I'm getting back in that routine by next week. So
yes. Well, you bet. I'll definitely do that.
All right.
I'll be on you.
Let's talk a little bit about what you refer to as your kind of a soft addiction. And so you refer to this 30 DHC, which stands for 30 days habit change. Is that something that you came up with, or was that from something?
Yeah, that was out of a book, this Kindle book that I downloaded, Bad Habits No More.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the name of this book. And I just saw the title. It attracted me, and a short book, and I really believe that after, we did the habit tracking in our coaching in the group, that it opened me up to wanting to track more, I started feeling like, I can do this now, because I did it a little bit in our group. Remind us,
what was the goal that you were tracking in the group?
Actually, okay, I'm going to make a confession here. I'm a little embarrassed, but it's okay. I was tracking flossing my teeth at night. So
what I thought you were actually about to say was I wasn't actually tracking.
Oh, no.
No, okay, so this is great. So you were tracking flossing your teeth. Lisa, I think I shared on the podcast before that I had a goal where I was tracking the very same thing as flossing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Flossing.
It's one of those things where once I'm doing it, it's like, oh, not a big deal. It's not painful or anything. And it does feel good. You feel like your teeth are clean,
Mm-hmm.
But it's at night I get into this mode where after a certain time, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to do anything but go to bed. So that's what I had to, really contend with.
So you were tracking this goal, and tell us a little bit about how you were doing that.
Okay, I just had this actually a while ago. I bought this kids a thing made for kids that is a chore chart.
Mm-hmm.
That has the days of the week, and you just mark each day whether you've done whatever it is, the chore or not. So I put that on my refrigerator. I also used my phone, I used an app, a habit tracking app, to mark what I was doing. So
what was working better for you, the app or the something physical that was for you to mark?
Definitely something physical.
Okay.
I tend to with the track. I like the apps. When I start using them, I think it's the novelty of it, and this is something neat that's going to just make me do this change, make this behavior change. But then in the end, what happens is I forget about it, or it's just not new anymore, and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's in my phone. It's not out where I see it. Like I have the chart on my refrigerator, and it's a visual cue for me.
So when I first asked everyone to track, how was that for you? Were you kind of like, really have to track this? Or do you remember how your initial response was?
I remember saying to you on the Facebook site, that I said, "This is just tedious.
Mm-hmm.
What are you making us do? You're asking a bunch of people with ADHD to track something? We don't do that. This is just not going to happen."
And so after you got past kind of all those automatic thoughts, those belief systems that you had about, oh, we're not going to do this, tell us kind of what the process was for you.
I think the first thing that helped me to change my attitude or my beliefs a little bit is that not everybody had the same attitude as I did. So I saw people doing this and getting excited about it, and they were excited about, using their Scooby-Doo chart and their whatever the creative method they found to track. And then just seeing everybody, talking about what they were doing and communicating on Facebook. And then with we have our accountability partners who are our buddies that we're paired up with. So, we communicate how we're doing with each day with our commitments. And so, we were going back and forth. And of course, if if my partner's telling me that they're doing it, then I've got to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
So a combination of those things helped. And, I'm like, all right, well, I might as well play. I did get in this program. So there's, a reason I did this. So, so I just started to do it too. And then I find that once I'm tracking it, I want to have the streak. I want to be able to mark every day that I did it. Not to say that I was perfect or that I never missed a day. So I did, but
it's interesting that you say that too, because I know a lot of people get really kind of the streaks are motivating to them. To me, they're not. I like to always have that bigger picture view because I know that I'm going to miss days on my goals. Like I know it. So by having that bigger picture view that says, okay, so today was one of those kind of just inconsistent off days. But by having, for me, that's why I like to have those kind of like 70, 80% achievement goals. Because I just don't like goals that are nearing towards that 100% mark because it sets yourself up for that disappointment. I mean, sure, it's great if you get 100%, but for me, I just don't like having that being my benchmark for achievement. Cause I just think there's no kind of margin for us just being kind of who we are.
Yes. Right.
So, but for you, are you saying that streaks kind of motivate you, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I like to be able to put them in, but to be able to mark each day.
Okay.
But I won't say it motivated me to the point where I was not missing days, because like you said, I was also being me and didn't, I've missed or I'd forget or whatever. And I remember you saying to us and stressing the fact that it's, you can look at the big picture view and see that you've done well overall. Mm-hmm. And then you get a sense of accomplishment and you actually get the benefit from the change, the habit change that mm-hmm. you made, even if you fell asleep before flossing one night.
Exactly. I mean, even, take, for example, what I was mentioning that I haven't worked out in a few weeks, which, I'm not feeling great about. But if I take that really big picture view and I looked at, say, the last 18 months, I could say that I've probably been working out for probably 16 of the last 18 months pretty consistently. Mm-hmm. So when you think about it that way, it's like, okay, I'm still a person that works out. I just haven't done it in a few weeks.
Yes, right.
So it really changes that perspective.
Yeah.
So now you wanted to, because one of the things that I wanted everyone to do in the group too is to not track something that was really a stretch goal, but just get in the habit of just tracking something that's an easy, what I refer to as a yes/no goal. Did you do it? Did you not? Because I think one of the things that can happen with people is they set up these really complicated goals that are measurable, but in a very complicated way. And then they're put in this position to have to decide, well, did I actually achieve that goal or not? So I think that when you're tracking something, if you've never done it before, having that yes, no, did you do it or did you not, is a really good way to begin tracking. Mm-hmm. Is that what you found too?
Yeah. And I found that, of course, flossing is a yes or no.
Right.
And I also have, there's times when I can forget to take medication. So that's a yes or no, mm-hmm. tracking taking my medications. So I do find that, yeah, it's good to start. It's always good to start. The smaller you start, the better.
Yes. No, I agree. Yeah. And I agree. And I think this is true for, I would say 90% of the people that I work with. I have had the occasional client where, the idea of starting small, going slow and growing for most people, I think is really effective. I have had some clients though that after trying this for a while and they're still kind of seeming stuck, I kind of take a paradoxical approach and really push them hard on something, and that for them helps them. So, mm-hmm. Which kind of just goes to that idea of just do what works and repeat, and whatever's not working, try something else.
Exactly.
So let's talk about Facebook and the rabbit hole that you call Facebook and how it zaps your energy. So let's kind of talk a little bit about this.
Okay. So I I've had this struggle really for a while, and I've done different things to reduce the amount of time that I'm spending on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I think that my conundrum, I guess you would say, if that's the right word, is that it's not like you can have an addiction, say to alcohol that people have, and then if they stay out of a bar and they can either drink, they can just not drink.
Right.
Right.
But you don't need alcohol.
Right. If you're watching your weight, though, you have to eat.
Right.
You have to eat, and you can't stay completely away from food.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the same way with Facebook. Not that it's a necessity. Of course, we all lived without it for a very long time. But it's something that really provides something positive in my life also.
And you actually, I love the name that you actually gave this, your I'll call it your book, or the name of your mission was Facebook on Purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, Facebook on Purpose.
I have a feeling you're like, oh yeah, I did name it that. That's pretty good.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, oh yeah, I did. I don't have that in my book in front of me. But yes, it's just something that I need boundaries with. Simply put, I can go on and I'll say, okay, let me check. I need to check one thing, and I'll go on to check, and then completely forget, or maybe I'll check that, but then I'll forget that, I just went on to check that. And I'm on there, reading posts or commenting, and it's amazing how much time a person can spend on Facebook.
Let me read just a little bit of what you actually posted.
Okay.
Because last week's episode, I actually talk about why one of the most important things is not necessarily starting with the what you need to do or how do you need to do it, but starting with why. And I like that right under your purpose. You wrote your why. And you said your why for doing this Facebook on Purpose is to improve the quality of your life. It's to give you more free time to have fun and to do things that are important to you. You say that you want to engage more in conversations with people in your life and around you, to be able to read more books, that you will get even more and higher quality exercise. You want to be able to stay more focused, and in parentheses, you say saying yes to too many things, including the amount of time we spend on Facebook result in scatteredness.
Yes.
So then you gave yourself a date, which I love. You said on January 14th, I will no longer be checking Facebook outside of my allotted times. You say that I will know that I am in control and I'm in charge of how and when I spend my time on all advices. Facebook is called the rabbit hole for me. I go there, and it's such an exciting place, and it leads me to ... nowhere. Not nowhere not in the sense that it's useless. I check it more times than I need to and spend more time on it than I need to. I check it sometimes at times when I could be giving a person my attention or a thing my attention, a thing that will bring me long-term rewards, way beyond and much deeper than the time I spend pursuing Facebook. I believe it zaps my energy. I feel I need to organize my thoughts here. I'm going to write in a list form. So you talk about kind of all the things that you do. You really kind of take the time to map out all the behaviors, the contingencies, you describe your behavior, I think, really well. Now, one of the things I'm curious about is, do you think before the coaching group, you would have been able to kind of map out this goal in such specificity?
No, I think I am more aware of what I'm doing. I mean, I think I knew it. I did know that I was wasting a lot of time on it. But to write as far as the specifics and what I needed to track, I wrote down on that in that book, what specifics I needed to track, like how many times I'm checking per day and having a maximum amount of, 8 times per day, which sounds like a lot, but it's a lot less than what I was doing. And then, having a certain amount of time between checks, those things, I think I knew, how to strategize my plan to quit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question. You did say that you want to be able to do it without the use of, you use quotes, help, like Antisocial or Mac Freedom, which are two pieces of software that I highly, highly recommend.
Yes.
Why?
Against Eric's high recommendation, you've suggested it to me several times, and I stubbornly would like to use that as a last resort, and hopefully, and I think it's maybe it's a pride thing that I want. I realize there's nothing wrong with if I need it and it helps me, fine. I realize that logically, but I feel like I get more power out of for myself out of controlling it myself by setting my own boundaries.
Lisa, it sounds like your part of your plan is to try harder.
To try harder?
Is that part of your plan?
That sounds like a trick question.
you must be in like coach training or something. I don't know. Because here's the thing: it's we do try hard, and we have to learn how to try differently. I think part of that is having that self-compassion to say, you know what, it would be nice if I can have the self-discipline to not check Facebook, 50 times a day. It would be nice if, and I think that's an important mindset kind of shift to have instead of the I should be able to do this, because when you tell yourself I should be able to do this on my own and I shouldn't have to use these tools, you know how you're going to end up feeling.
Oh because I'm making myself wrong, beating myself up,
Well, it's a shouldy thought, and it makes you feel shouldy. Right. So, it's, Lisa, I had thought about installing and using Freedom, which is the software that blocks you from the internet at a scheduled time, and the only way around it is to actually restart your computer. And as we were kind of getting ready for this interview, we know how many programs we often keep open. So the barrier of having to restart the computer is often enough to just let the system be as it is. So I waited for 9 months, and I thought about downloading this program for 9 months. Mm-hmm. I wish I didn't wait 9 months. I wish that when I had that first thought of, that sounds like a really good thing, maybe I should look into it. I wish that I would have taken action on that, because it's been an extraordinarily helpful tool for me. It would be nice if I didn't need it, but it's even nicer the fact that I have a tool that really helps me.
Mm-hmm. So the thing that I'm concerned about is that there's times when I need to just check something and I might get on for a minute, get off for a minute. And if I have that program going, I'm not going to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. And I want to have the freedom to be able to do that. So, and I think though, if you can do it, and you're definitely as busy, if not busier than me. So I'm sure you would have that same situation. So, I guess I just don't want that taken away from me.
I was listening to an episode this morning of Entrepreneur on Fire with John Lee Dumas. And one of the things that his guest was saying was that, people who appear really busy, it's not that they get more or less done than other people. The people who are less busy are better at saying no. Mm-hmm. So, because every time we say yes to something, that means we're saying no to something else that we want to do.
Right.
Because, so there's, we can dive into this so deeply because there's so many things. There's and you even talk about this by identifying your triggers, your cues. Now, let me ask you this. Have you taken this post that you wrote in the community group? Have you printed this?
No. I have not printed it yet.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a quick break. And during that break, what you can do is either write yourself a note to yourself to print this, because I think it's really important to be able to have this physically in your environment. And then really, because what you wrote a lot here. And I think there's a lot that's going to bring a lot of value to 2015 for you. I think you really took the time to understand really the complexity of this. And it's not just about Facebook, it's about everything else. I think you recognize that every time you go into Facebook, you're saying basically no to all these other things that are way more important to you. Like,
Yes.
it's like reading, being with people, moving forward on launching your coaching practice. I mean, how awesome and important is that for you?
Yeah, very. Yes. Definitely important.
So we're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsor and have a quick kind of informational. I don't know what I'm saying. You were concerned about stumbling over your words, and here I'm doing it right now, and I'm going to leave it in just to make you feel better. So we'll be right back. Best practices for treating ADHD is called multimodal treatment, and one pillar of multimodal treatment is ADHD education. Continue your ADHD education with a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired. They have dozens of great books on ADHD, including books like Driven to Distraction by Ned Hallowell or Smart But Stuck by Thomas Brown. To get your free audiobook download, go to audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired. That's audibletrial.com/ADHD Rewired. Thank you for subscribing and for listening to ADHD Rewired. Because you are spending your time listening to my voice right now, there is a good chance that you're already invested and dedicated to improving your life by learning strategies to manage your ADHD. But are you ready to invest in your best year yet? With the ADHD Rewired online coaching and accountability group, you really can make 2015 your most productive year yet. I know this group won't be for everyone, but it might be for you. Go to ADHDrewired.com and click Rewired Coaching at the top of the page. With affordable monthly payments, you can get your ADHD Rewired for under $200 a month. My first free webinar, Productivity 2.0 Smart Tools and Smarter Apps for Getting Things Done with ADHD, will be Tuesday, December 30th at 1 p.m. Central Time. I will also answer your questions at the end of the webinar. This live webinar will be recorded, but it will only be available for 48 hours. So register today to get access to exclusive pre-launch rates for this coaching group. Prices will go up, and this group will sell out. For more information, go to ADHDrewired.com. That's ADHDrewired.com to get your ADHD Rewired. Okay, and we are back. So we were talking about this Facebook goal that you have regarding Facebook on purpose, and we're kind of breaking it down, and there were some things that I was kind of encouraging you to really do and break this down, and we're talking about tools and just kind of the strategy behind this. So one of the things that we just said before break was the really important things as to your why. So, the things that you're trying to do that are going to help you really achieve your goals. Yes, it's fun to check Facebook. It's fun to get that kind of dopamine hit that you describe when it comes to that notification, that checking that someone responded on something you said. It's exciting. But when we think about what's more exciting, how great would it feel to be able to say, oh, I now have my first client. I finished my website. I have, X, Y, or Z. So when you're thinking about the bigger whys, how can you use those as a partial motivator for yourself when faced with Facebook is just a click away?
I can have visual cues. I can have things up that I see that remind me of my goals. So
what would that look like?
That would look like I'm imagining myself making a collage or something, like cutting things out of magazines, like an image of me with a client. Maybe I could draw like a website. I don't know, something. I think visual cues are the best way, like cutting out the images that remind me of what it's going to look like to have my business running, to have my website, my first client, whatever that's going to look like, maybe writing something that's empowering for me, as far as what I want that to look like something like a sign, like congratulations, you've just got your first client,
I love that. I love that because that idea of that making the present, even though it's in the future, it's the imagined, the desired outcome. When you write about it as if it already happened, our brain kind of doesn't know. Our brain is actually easily fooled. Okay, so when you understand parts of how we think and that how our thoughts and our feelings are so interconnected, that we can use some of those, how often do we say things like, oh, I can't do that? And how often are we wrong?
A lot.
Right? So, we have this belief system. So let's use some of that faulty wiring for our advantage, saying, it felt awesome getting my first client, even if you haven't had it yet.
Right. Oh, yeah. And then that excitement, just generating that excitement is motivating. That would pull me towards, doing what I need to do, being in action to go toward my goal. So,
Lisa, one of the things that I think, I don't know if this was how in the bigger picture of being in the group was for you. One of the things that I just thought was that I was probably most impressed with you by was, so everyone in the group had put together a presentation that last about 2 weeks of group. And I know that you were terrified of giving this presentation. Because you had shared with me that you were like deathly afraid of looking dumb, right? And
yes.
And so what happened? So there was a little bit of a hitch in the beginning. We had some technical problems, so we had to move forward. But we went back and did it. And how did it go?
It was awesome. I was so happy I did it. I knew when you presented the assignment that it was a perfect opportunity for me to get over myself, to, the more, I really strongly believe that the more we practice and just get in action and do things, the smaller that chatter gets.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it. And, it's so funny. It kind of really is humorous to me how I can get myself so worked up, and then the actual experience of, being in the now as I'm doing the presentation is just doing the presentation.
I think you had fun doing it.
I did have fun doing it. I did. I really had fun. Yeah. And I had fun even with the things that didn't go perfectly.
And what did you present on? Share this with everyone.
I presented on the name of my presentation was From Survivin' to High-Fivin'. And that meant, it was about bringing up my productivity at work, improving my performance scores.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
tell us about that?
Sure. My numbers had been low. My job is, in many ways, it's very perfect for me. I get to have conversations all day, and do something that's service oriented, and it's, good in that way. The other side of it is it's sedentary. I'm work from home. So I'm by myself. It's very self-directed, as opposed to when I used to work in a hospital setting, in clinical setting. In that setting, I had like things coming at me. Everything was urgent, which really worked for me in my brain. This is more self-directed and requires more self-discipline. Even though I am being monitored, my numbers are being monitored. They know everything I'm doing, every call I make. I'm home by myself. And anyway, so I wanted to use the strategies to, I actually didn't, this wasn't consciously going to be what I was going to work on when I went into your coaching group. Mm-hmm. I wanted to get going on my coaching business. Mm-hmm. and just organize my time more effectively and make sure I'm having fun. That was the third thing, doing fun things too. But what happened is that as we started using strategies and my numbers at work were down, I have a hard time at work, sometimes it is getting better now, but there's sometimes it's hard for me to be intentional to do what I'm supposed to be doing. After with being in the group, I started using a lot of the strategies that we learned in our group.
Like what were some of the strategies?
So one strategy, one of my favorites, is actually, we've learned like how to break things down into small steps so that things aren't so overwhelming. If you break it down to the easiest possible thing, anyone could do, it's easy. So one of the things that I do every morning now is I come in and turn on my computer before I start working. After I run, I fix my shake, I come in, I set up, I just open the windows on my work computer that need to be open and look at what I need to do. It takes me about 5-10 minutes and then I go finish getting ready. So when I come in and I'm ready to work, I jump in. It's
I like
all,
that.
Yeah. So that's one thing. I have these powerful Post-it notes, which I shared about in my presentation, that I respond to verbal stuff. So, I have something on my monitor that says, "If you build it, it will come." From one of my favorite movies, Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, yes.
and that to me is one of the most. I just love that. I look at it and say, "Yeah, it's up to me." So, and I have a few different things there, different Post-its. What else? I have my timer, and I set. I give myself, like, if I'm really resisting work, I set my timer for 3 minutes, and it makes me this gives me that feeling like of urgency. I have 3 minutes and I need to get started, and I do. So it works very well for me. Pomodoros, which is the 25-minute unblocked, uninterrupted work. Times
focus.
focused on work. So I do that. I pull some of these out as needed, like the Pomodoro. The transitioning, what you taught me about transitioning is just so great, because transitioning, of course, is a challenge. Once I'm off, I'm out. I walk out to get something out in the refrigerator, and I could, do a million other things. So
what do you do? What do you do now?
So what I do is I write down what I'm not really sure. I just do this out of blind faith, Eric. I'm not really sure why I do this part, but you told me to. So I write down what I just finished doing. And that's the part I'm not sure why. I kind of question, but I do it anyway. And then I write down what I'm going to do on the break, like, I just 2 words, whatever, what I'm planning on, intending to do. And then I set my timer for the break. So if I'm taking 5 minutes, I set it for 5 minutes. And then I also write down what I'm going to do when I get back, the first thing I'm doing, first 1 or 2 things. So that strategy helps me a lot, because I was wasting a lot of time trying, whatever you want to call it, with transitioning,
Lisa, let me ask you this. Do you ever approach something and ask yourself the question, did I finish this? What was the last thing I did?
Yeah.
Like,
you mean like if I came back and wasn't sure where I was, like what I had done? Yeah.
Okay. And that right there is why I suggest writing down what you just did. It gives you a moment to pause and kind of check in with yourself. It's kind of that bookmark. And then, because if we're doing something now, it's easier to know what the next step is. So instead of having to hold all this information in our head, we put it out on paper, and now we can free our brain to go take a quick break.
Yes. Very effective.
So what I want, everyone who listens to the podcast regularly, and if you're new to ADHD Rewired, and of course I want to welcome you to this. Really, it's a community. We have a pretty active Facebook group, and I'm continuing to grow this as a community. But this is also we do coaching. I mean, I launched my first coaching group that Lisa was a part of. And, and I'll be the first to admit at the very beginning of the group, it was, I would not describe it as smooth.
It's so much fun.
You know what? It was. And it was this whole idea of I had to move past this fear of it's got to be perfect before I launch it. It was very much, it was a beta group. But would you say, I'm going to ask you this, and I want you to really, really answer this honestly, okay?
Okay.
Do you feel that the group improved over time?
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel that there were things that still you would have liked to maybe even been better that were towards the end?
Things that could have been better towards the end?
Yeah.
What could have been better towards the end? I know that I gave you feedback and but there was nothing upsetting. There were maybe communication things, but that was really it. As far as the way that the program ran and what I got out of it and what I saw other people getting from it, I just thought it ran great. I really did. I can't think of anything that needed to change as far as the way that the program, the effect that it had on us and the things that the things that you had us doing to, like the habit tracking and the presentations and the videos and all those things I thought were very, very helpful. The goal setting and, you walked us through, coach gave us actual coaching, and in the beginning with how to set goals and all that. And that was very helpful. And we followed a lot of times in programs. There can be something I noticed that happens. Like when I've had coaching before, and other things that in the beginning you have all these goals and then they can just kind of get forgotten. And I know I'm part of that, and maybe whoever I'm working with maybe isn't following up, and then I'm not bringing it up and I'm forgetting about it, whatever. So, but in the 3 months that we were with you, because we had our accountability partners and you were always accessible. We were working on our goals the whole time. It never got dropped, so.
Yeah. And what I thought was interesting is how many people shifted their goals. Like, not that they dropped them altogether, but I think what my sense is that people had a much clearer idea of what's realistic.
Mm. Mm-hmm. You mean after being in the program?
Yeah, and even just after, because in the first month we really focused on getting very clear about the goals. I even had everyone. I think this was a lot of people said this was their favorite assignment. When I had them do the 30-second elevator speech, that recorded a video about what your 3 goals are in 30 seconds. Because I wanted everyone to be super, super clear about what it is that they want to be doing, what they want to be intentional about.
Yeah. Well, the magic is, I'm still clear. You asked me to think about what my goals are going to be for the coming year. And I still have the same 3 goals.
That's great.
Being realistic, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. I know that I was looking at some of my goals that I had for the year. And I know that I achieved some of them, and there were others that I hadn't achieved. Last week's episode, I was originally going to share that, and maybe right now I'll share that right here, kind of just to share what my goals kind of were for 2014, and what I did and did not achieve. So I don't know if you can hear, I'm fumbling through my notebook. So Lisa, do you want to hear what my goals were for this year, and we can kind of go through what I did and didn't do?
Yes.
Okay. So my goal for 2014 was I wanted to create and launch my new website, which I did.
Yes,
I wanted to launch my podcast, which I did. I wanted to send out bi-monthly newsletters, which I have not done.
You hate to write.
I hate to write. I wish that I liked writing. I wish I was better at writing. I'm strongly actually considering hiring a writing coach to help me with this process. So let's see. I wanted to get a better understanding of my personal and business finances. I've definitely grown in that area. I'm still not where I want to be with some of these smaller things that I wanted to kind of benchmark. I did, like setting up Mint and have a more kind of a detailed view of my finances. Mm-hmm. I wanted to contribute to 3 to 5 magazines. I contributed to 3. I wanted to lose 12 pounds. I did not lose 12 pounds. I think I maybe got close at one point during the year, but I went right back up. I wanted to give workshops where I was giving CEs. I gave one, but it wasn't a self-hosted one. And so this is still a goal that I have for the year. I wanted to learn how to give webinars, and I did do that. And I'm going to be giving a couple webinars coming up, including some free ones as I'm getting ready for the launch for the next group. I wanted to create some passive streams of income. And I have done some of that through this podcast. I was looking at the beginning of last year. I wanted to learn Facebook. I truly did not understand Facebook before I started my podcast.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. So I just kind of dove right in and, because I'm part of a podcasting group that uses Facebook. And so that made me, figure it out. I had some goals for my volunteer work with Chad. One of them was to go from a satellite to a chapter, and I did achieve that. And I wanted to give at least 12 presentations and present at 2 national conferences, and I did actually exceeded that one. So those were kind of my big goals. And so, I think the thing that's cool is that on most of these goals, I moved forward and I made progress. I didn't get the exact numbers that I wanted to, but that's also okay because, each of these time period benchmarks I revisit and it's okay, how am I doing? Is this still important? Is this something that I want to put to the side, or is this something that I want to do, but I don't have time for yet? So This is why I think goal tracking is so important. And last week's episode was all about that. So here's what I want to kind of ask of you, Lisa, and I really do. I want you to be honest again, because, I am the first one to admit when something, could go better. I'm the first one to admit when something really just, failed and fell flat on his face.
Yes, you are. I respect and admire that about you, Eric.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Maybe it's, maybe I think it's this great quality and it's not. I don't know. It's just, it's who I am.
And it also teaches us that we can do the same, Yeah.
So I reflect and I asked everyone to give me feedback that was in the coaching group on, the highs and lows basically of the group. And, some of the things that were, as far as the feedback that I'm doing for next group is, people wanted to know more ahead of time when the coaching calls were going to be. Some of the topics for the coaching calls more in advance. And I think these were things that during our whole coaching group, Lisa, I was like, oh man, I wish I was doing that. And so I heard what everyone said, and I've actually created a 12-week basically curriculum now that, I'm not going to be completely rigid to it, because there's my plan, and then there will be the plan of everyone in the group, and I'm going to meet everyone halfway. So, I want everyone to know that what I took from my first coaching group, I also learned a lot, because, I up to this coaching group, I do this in my office, and this was my first venture doing this online, and I just think it was powerful. I mean, I don't know if you felt that it was as powerful as I thought it was, but what would you tell someone who was kind of on the fence, thinking about, should I do this? Should I make this investment in my ADHD management? What would you say to them, Lisa?
Oh, do it. Definitely. What I want to say something to just respond to what you just said, though. Mm-hmm. I was someone who, I worked during the day, mm-hmm. and I missed some of those calls. So, and my concern before starting the program was, I know that I'm going to miss some of these things. So I knew ahead of time. And even though, I kind of would have liked to have been on the calls. I still, if a person's considering doing this and they're concerned because they may not be on every call, one of the things that you did for us is recorded I don't know if you did all of them, but you did record some of them. And that was helpful. I could go back and listen. I didn't feel like I missed out or got any less out of the program because I wasn't able to be on those every call. So I wouldn't want that to be like a reason not to be in your program for anybody.
Cool.
So yeah. Yep. And I would definitely say that recommend this for anybody. I mean, for me, the accountability, there's nothing like accountability. A lot of these things, I won't say I know everything, and because I definitely don't, but I do have experience, like as with the job, with what I do as a nurse, I do goal setting. So I have some experience, with setting smart goals, taking a baby step approach and that kind of stuff. But the thing that, as much as I've known all along until I got up to this point, it didn't matter. I mean, it matters that knowing it helps, and it's good, because when I'm using it, I'm knowing it helps knowing what to do. But without that accountability, it doesn't happen for me. So, not to say I can't do anything without accountability, but just, I know that's the magic that this group provided for me, was having the buddies every week, having you to, bounce things off of, or, on the site, that's what that's the thing. That's the best thing about it for me, is the accountability.
Well, Lisa, I want to thank you for being on, but before I let you go, it is time for the random question round. This is the part of the show that has absolutely nothing to do with ADHD, which then paradoxically has everything to do with ADHD. Now, I know that you said you were not looking forward to this part of it, but yeah. It's part of the show.
Keep talking. No. Just kidding. No, this will be fun.
Okay. Are you ready?
Except, of course, I had more I wanted to say, Eric.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, when I ask you those parting words, you can do that if you can hold on to that information.
Perfect. I can. I'm going to.
Okay. So, the question I always ask is, if you had some invention, what would it be?
An invention.
Mm-hmm.
I want a chip to put on my glasses so that when I lose them, I can find them. That's just like one little thing. It's probably like bigger things, but
I think there might be something out there that does that.
I have looked online. I even asked this company. There's a company that produces this thing. It's called Tile that you use keys. And I wrote them and said, "Do you have something like this for my glasses?" And they don't. So
I think that would be a great product.
Yes, I do too.
Okay.
If there isn't one, maybe I'll invent it.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. What was the last movie you saw?
The last movie I saw. I haven't seen a movie in a while. Homeland is the last show that I watched. Anyway, I don't remember. Oh, goodness. What did I see? Oh, I saw a movie when I was in Louisville and didn't have my glasses, so it was kind of hard to see. Oh, what did we see? We saw, and it was a funny movie, a very silly movie. What was the name? Oh, Horrible Bosses 2.
Okay, I think isn't that still out?
I think it is. Yeah, I saw it when I was home for Thanksgiving. It was very cute. Very cute. It's probably not something I would have picked. My brother picked it, and it very fits his sense of humor, and I have a little bit of his sense of humor. So it was a cute movie.
Great. All right. If you won the Lotto, what would you do differently starting tomorrow?
If I won the Lotto, I would probably, honestly,
yeah.
My first thought was I would quit this job and start my business, like be able to start quicker, with building my coaching business. I'd also move into a house. I'd buy a house. I'm in a townhouse, and I'd like to get a house. Maybe a car. How much money do I have? How much?
You won like the big one.
Oh, won the big one. I would want to travel. I've always wanted to go to Israel. I've never been, and even though that doesn't, and then maybe another trip that's more glamorous. That would be more educational. But I'd like to travel, get a house, start my business. Yeah.
Cool.
That's maybe another dog. I don't know if Richard would go for that, but.
And I know that Richard is your boyfriend. He's the linear, organized half.
Yes, he is.
It's always good when we have one of those.
Yes, he came in handy today to edit my About Me story.
Okay, I have 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
The next one is, right now, what's under your bed?
Clothes, out of season Christmas cards, which I guess I could get out. I mean, I haven't.
Oh, is that where those are?
Yeah, I've got. Yep. I've got a wrapping paper and all that kind of stuff under there. I actually did recently clean out underneath there. I used to have way too much, and now it's I'm using it for storage, but it's not too crazy under there.
Okay.
Nothing spooky.
And my last question is, if you could eat lunch with one famous person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
If I could eat lunch with one famous person. Oh my goodness. I'm probably going to think of the perfect person after we hang up. Well, I'm looking at a picture of Brad Pitt on my wall. I wouldn't mind eating lunch with him. And he's also a man of substance. He's not just, a good-looking guy. He's he would be interesting to talk to because he's done so much for the world, for Africa and all that kind of stuff. So
and for you, it doesn't help that he's nice to look at.
It doesn't hurt at all. And he needs to kind of, if this picture here would move, if I could actually see him live, yeah.
Lisa, I think that you did it just as well as you could have on the random question round. And all these fears that you have, yes, you got to just remind yourself that it's just a feeling and feelings aren't facts.
This is for sure. That is a fact. That is a fact. Yes. And so can I say my parting words?
Yes, please do. And if you want people to reach out to you afterwards, also let them know how to do that.
Okay. So you did the perfect, how do you say it, like lead into my parting words. So what you said about the fear. So doing that, I just wanted to say a little more about that presentation.
Please.
That was, I got to see that it was fun. Your feet. This is the other thing about your coaching group and courses is that you give honest, direct feedback, and you sometimes I get I can remember posting something, and then you'll remind me that I was being intentional and ask me what my next task was. But on the positive end.
Wait. So wait, there's something you got irritated with me about. Go into that a little bit. I kind of felt like I missed something there.
Oh, okay. I've posted something. Oh, I know what it was on my presentation. Whenever I do something like that, afterwards, a million things come up that I remember that I was gonna say that I didn't say. So I posted something, one more thing. On the site. And I said, one more thing I meant to say that I didn't say is that I also used this strategy or whatever it was. And your response was, it sounds like you have one more thing, Idas. What is your next task?
No, because I can so relate to that, though. Something like that, you got all the kind of the adrenaline's going and everything, and it can derail you from your day. And the whole idea of being in this group is to be more intentional with your day.
Yes, exactly.
So, but you're saying that at first that was like irritating to you?
Yes. Yes, it was that voice came up like that don't tell me what to do.
And so then after you kind of simmered down a little bit, were you like, did you see where I was coming from, or were you still like, can you just let me have my moment?
Yeah, I wanted my moment. And yeah, I was like a kid being correct. Like I was being, this kid and you were correcting me and I didn't want to be corrected. But after I knew the whole time, even when I didn't like it, I was actually supposed to be working. I was, done with the presentation and it was time to work. So anyway. Even the what might be called negative feedback, it's not negative feedback. It's positive feedback because I'm learning and I learned from that. So anyway, what I was going to say is that the positive feedback I got from you from the presentation is you told me that I have a natural way about me that I make things fun, and even when it wasn't going exactly the way it should have, or the way, I shouldn't say should have, but the way I wanted it to, that I was still had this ability to make it, to have fun with it.
You really did. And that's hard for a lot of people to do. And you seem to just do it almost naturally. That's like your I don't know, your natural setting in the sense of this is just how I operate. And I think that's a gift that you have.
Yes, and I just want to say, how much it means getting this feedback from you, and I'll take that with me, knowing that when I do the next presentation, that I can have fun with it. It was a big lesson in letting go of perfection and just doing it, getting the practice, and it's something that I definitely want to take with me, and that I will take with me. You challenged me, by the way, and I want to say this now in front of as many people as I can, that you challenged me to do this presentation. I may, tune it up a little bit, but, with Chad, Find a Chad organization. I even actually thought about doing it at work. I would, maybe have my manager listen to it first to see what she thinks. But I went back and listened to the presentation, and I was so proud of it because I realized, wow, this isn't bad. Even when I stumbled, it's okay. It's part of being human. It would be boring if it was perfect.
Perfect people scare me.
Exactly. And something I realized is that if I can let myself, not be perfect, then when people are listening, they're going to hear my message because they're not going to get distracted. If I'm not distracted by whatever distraction there is or imperfection, then they're not going to get distracted by it either. They're going to just hear my message. So that's
and I
cool.
think it's a great message to share. So, Lisa, we are going to end on that. Is there a way that people can reach you, or should they just reach you in the Facebook group? What would be the best for you?
Well, right now, the best way to reach me would be in the Facebook group. I do have a website that is coming soon. At Feinberg Coaching. I'm sorry, no. That's not it now. LisaFeinberg.com is going to be. So just so for future reference.
And the beauty of podcasts is they live on forever. So if you are listening to this in the future, go check out what Lisa Feinberg is doing at lisafeinberg.com, although it's not up yet, but in the future it will be. Yes. So Lisa,
I'm starting a blog too, by the way, that came out of my long Facebook post. I realized maybe I should blog, so I got my page ready yesterday.
Awesome.
I'm starting a blog. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'll stop talking now.
I have to say, if starting is the hardest part, stopping is a close second.
Oh, definitely.
Well, Lisa, thank you, and happy Hanukkah to you.
Thank you. Happy Hanukkah to you.
Well, thank you very much.
I want you to get home on time tonight.
That is the goal. We are on night 6 right now, right?
Yes.
No, 7.
Night 7.
One of those. It's 7. Usually, the ADHD version of Hanukkah, you give or take like a starting day. I think last year our Hanukkah was actually finished like 4 days after Hanukkah. It's whatever.
Yeah, you can just make it up. Whatever.
So thank you so much. And we will be in touch.
Okay, wonderful.
All right, thanks, Seth.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Well, ADHD Rewired community, I want to thank you all for listening, especially those who have been part of this community since I launched this podcast earlier this year. I want to give a special thank you to all of you who have emailed me, joined me on Facebook, shared this podcast with others, and to the members of the first ADHD Rewired Coaching and Accountability Group. I also want to thank everyone who has taken the time to leave a review on either iTunes or Stitcher. Between the two, there have been almost 200 reviews within the last 8 months, and I just cannot thank you enough. All of your support is so rewarding, and it's really motivating, because I do read those reviews. You know, a 5-star rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher would make a great birthday present, and this episode does air on my birthday. So if you have not left a review yet, please head over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave me a review because it does help. We are on Facebook. Like our page, and submit your request to join our free and growing community. And please check your other inbox because I screen everybody before they come into the group. And if you're thinking about signing up for the ADHD Rewired Coaching and Accountability Group, you definitely don't want to miss the exclusive access to pre-launch pricing. To get your invitation to this pre-launch webinar that I mentioned earlier in this podcast, where I'll be presenting Productivity 2.0, Smart Tools and Smarter Apps for Getting Things Done with ADHD, just go to my website, sign up for my newsletter. The website's ADHDrewired.com, or you can text from your mobile device. Tivers, that's Tivers, to the number 22828. That's Tivers to the number 22828. Now that I just told you a bunch of numbers and your brain is overwhelmed, I just want to thank everyone for making 2014 an incredible year. I'm looking forward to an even better 2015. You have been listening to ADHD Rewired. I am your host, Eric Tivers. I want to thank all of you and wish all of you a happy, healthy, and productive new year. Until next time.